Bonjour, hello. My name is Majida Hawk. I'm from Rainy River First Nations and I belong to the Loon Clan. Currently, I reside in Montreal, Quebec, and I'm very passionate about advocating for the issues that faced by Indigenous peoples. I believe in using my voice as a young leader for my community. And I'm very grateful to the ICI for giving me the opportunity to moderate my very first panel, so bear with me. I also look forward to hearing what the youth have to say. So I will start by asking the youth to introduce yourself and where you're from, what made you apply for the youth scholarship with the ICI, and why is this important to you?
Hello? Can it work? All right, there we go. Hi, I'm Colin Obi, and I'm from Pasqua First Nation in Saskatchewan. I lived there since I was 12. I'm also the CTO and co-founder of a company that I'm starting called Nell Pro Inc. And basically, we're a web application. We're software developing a web application, and basically, we're sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm like so nervous. But basically, we're Nelpro is a trust first B2B software company connecting businesses with verified industry grade professionals across tech and cybersecurity. So we're mainly focused on cybersecurity, and we basically just we're on a mission to connect cybersecurity professionals to get professional jobs with clients, high end clients, and basically what we're going to do, we have a web application, and if you're a cybersecurity professional, like a high tech programmer, coder, if you're good at any of that stuff and you're certified, you have to be certified. Everybody on my web page is certified. Everything is good. So what we're escrow backed as well. And what we have, so basically, if you're a client, you sign up as a client, you sign up for a client profile, and you post as a gig. So you post a gig that you need. So say you have cybersecurity issues, you have like defensive issues, you need something done, you need UI or front end or back end developed. You would go to the website, you would state that you're from this company, you would post that you need this job done then by then, like this date, this time, blah 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 blah. And you would get that, you would post that, and one of my professionals would come and they would apply for that job. And if they're good enough for you, you accept that job. And yeah, and then basically the milestone payment that we go on from then is we go on, so we have a milestone payment, I should apologize. So milestone one is submitted by, so it'll go milestone one, two, three, yada yada. Milestone one will be submitted by the professional, and it's the work that you need essentially, and it's the work that you wanted done. And if it's good enough, you can refuse it, or you can continue to pay him, and you can work on forward and forward. And if it's not good and it's completely terrible, you just don't want it. It's not good. It's not what you. It's not on your Figma design. It's just not what you wanted. You can go and you can contact Nel Pro, and you can contact their team of moderators and get your money back because everything's escrow backed. But yeah, but that's why I'm here. I was here to showcase my project and talk about me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Whew. Hi, I'm Courtney Comber. I'm the executive director of North End Connect in Winnipeg. My family is from Deer Lake, Ontario, but I was born and raised in Winnipeg. My mentor, a lot of you may know, is Joel Templeman, and he has advised me to introduce myself to everyone. So, hi, everyone. I'm Courtney. Nice to meet you. I'm here because I'm still learning in my role. I'm very new into it. And what our organization is trying to do is build a community-owned mesh network in North End, Winnipeg, because that's another community that's been kind of left behind. So we have a few different initiatives that we're using to kind of bridge that digital divide. Our biggest one, our biggest ambition is building this network. So we have a few different antennas up in the moment, and we're getting some household access points put up. Sorry, I'm nervous. Whew. Oh, I get it. But no, like
Keep up the good work.
it's
Keep
a
up.
huge opportunity for me to be here because I see a lot of organizations that are doing what we're trying to do and are already well established and structured. So I'm excited to learn and pick everyone's brains and see how I can bring it back to Winnipeg to kind of implement the same things for North End Connect. And yeah, thank you.
Bonjour, my name is Daryl Blackbird, or I'll say my language. Bonjour, Wasinakwa Nadijnakas, Kajanong Nadunjaba, Ajajak Nadodam. That means hello, my name is Daryl. Wasinakwad is my spirit name, which means shining cloud, and I am from Kajanong, which means where the waters divide. And I am a Crane Clan. And I am excited to be here. Hopefully to learn a lot. It's been a whirlwind of information from day one. I have some experience in government, working for CERNAC, Natural Resources Canada, mostly in the clean energy sector. Project delivery for clean energy projects in the north for people that are reliant on diesel. So I am new to the digital sector and equity. So I'm glad to be here, and I hope to learn a lot and bring it back to my community to help them in the future. Thank you.
Hello, Singaila, good morning. That means good morning in my language. My name is Jessica Brooks. I'm from Haida Gwaii. I'm Haida. And so I apologize. I showed up a little bit late. I don't know why my alarm didn't go off. Very relatable, am I right? So while I'm not quite nearly as notable and as accomplished as the rest of the people on this here, we don't really have anything quite like this on Haida Gwaii. We're very small. And so I'm very grateful to have this opportunity and bring some excellent knowledge back to my people. I've already learned so much just after day one, and I already feel very inspired, and I have written quite a lot of notes. Not that I have them here with me. So this youth scholarship to attend here, I'm going to be very frank. I didn't even know about this whole event. I heard about it through Jerry Lawson from UBC, who I worked with, and I was the digitization technician on Haida Gwaii. And I heard about this opportunity through him. And just hearing about this summit, it already ignited this spark in me and a whole lot of inspiration. And so it means an insane amount for me to be here. And yeah, it's important for me to gain as much knowledge so I can bring it back and benefit my community, because we're still very small. We only recently just got fiber optics to our island, which has been a little bit of an issue because we're a rural, isolated island. And it was a very common problem for fishing and trolling boats to tear those up from the bottom of the ocean. Rural problems.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So I'm going to move on to our very first question. What can organizations like the ICI do to help amplify youth voices?
I think organizations can definitely help amplify youth voices by helping connect more to the youth by showcasing what the youth has to offer, and basically not expelling. Oh my god, I can't think of the word. Excluding. Thank you. It's not excluding the youth, because we can do things that many people think we can't do, of course. And I feel like it's very good to connect with more youth, especially as businesses, because the youth are going to definitely be leading businesses in the future, and they're going to be, if you like it or not, they will be leading your business. So
sharing.
Yes.
I think having kind of youth panels like this is very helpful. As I'm sitting here all jittery and nervous, I think it's important to kind of put us on the spotlight and kind of force us out of our comfort zones to grow and consider aspects of things that we might not have really thought about before. Like yesterday was an information overload for me, and it's kind of been eye-opening that I have been kind of ignorant and didn't know a lot about policies and governance regarding internet and digital equity and all that. So it's just kind of, we as youth still have a lot to learn, and it's stuff like this that's going to help us get there. So I would say more stuff like this.
Here, here. So, so I'm glad that ICI is offering this. It's a huge opportunity. Indigenous advisory councils are super popular right now. Federal government's doing them. Of course, corporations are doing them now. So I think that organizations can do stuff like this, like developing a mentorship program in-house that you're in control of and you get funding for, and you can really customize, I think, regionally for the needs that youth have there, especially if you have unique challenges specific to your community. And I think that's what you're going to have to tap into, the problems. But there's a lot of potential, I think. And that could be supporting youth-led initiatives, ones that they've put together to address their digital challenges. You know, AI is great, but if they don't understand how to code, they can't read it. So yeah, stuff like this, we're facilitating connections right now. I met a lot of great people. I hope to meet more of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Not quite sure how to lead up to that. Everybody said so many amazing, great things. So I think we could just go on to the next question.
So, next question that I have for the youth is, how can we better support and encourage youth to get involved in policy advocacy, and what needs to change, as in what's working and what's not working?
Sorry, can you repeat it?
So how can we better support and encourage youth to get involved in policy advocacy, and what needs to change, as in what's working and what's not working?
Okay, what we could do, what people could do to change, not change policies, but to help advocate youth to be policy leaders is that you could explain that policy is not something that's so like governments. Because people will correspond one ideology that if you're in policy, you're government and corporate, but it doesn't always have to be like that. It can be, you know, it can be cool, I guess, but it's not really. But like, it can be implemented as is that it's something to do other than just not doing anything, honestly. And policy, like, I don't like it's, you could just help, like I said, it more rounds back to my last answer is that you can just help connect with the youth. Do things like this. Honestly, this would really, like, things like this really, really help out, especially like public speaking. It really, really helps to put youth on the spot, essentially, make them speak. Nobody speaks anymore. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to kind of mirror that and agree. I think it's important to have youth advisory groups and to kind of bring these discussions to the table and get the youth thinking about these things, because a lot of the times we're not thinking about a lot of that. We don't think about the stuff that we're doing online and how it's being saved and stored and shared and sold, not sold. So I think kind of introducing it to the youth, maybe in sort of like a school board kind of curriculum kind of aspect, and introducing it to them kind of at a younger age, that the way they grow up with the idea of this information, and they're not just kind of being dumped into the deep end when they're older and trying to learn and navigate it. When they're older, they're kind of already being the only word that's coming to mind is not the best word to use, but they're kind of being led into the technical digital world already with that kind of foundational knowledge.
Thank you. So the next question I have for you guys is, if you had the chance to speak directly to policymakers, what would you want them to understand about the digital divide and Indigenous youth?
One thing that policy makers should know about the digital divide is that not a lot of Indigenous communities, especially rural communities, do not have access to like high-end internet, and they can't manage to do a lot of things. Like my reserve specifically, like we used to have like a really very, 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 very slow internet. It's fixed now since Starlink came out, but we used to have very, very slow internet. And it was very, very rough, and not many people could actually do anything, like let alone play games or even actually like just watch YouTube because it was so slow. And like, sure, we had internet, but like it was practically useless because like it was just to say that we had internet essentially. But like everything is fixed now because of proper communications. But unfortunately, it needs to be like more specified that not many communities around the world even have internet. And I feel like it should be right to have an internet, especially since it's so vital in today's age because everything is so connected. Everything is digital no matter what. Even your car is all just computers. So it's everything should just be like there should be more like what you call it, literacy upon the subject. So
I'm just going to pass this one along to Daryl because I admittedly don't have enough knowledge to kind of have an educated opinion on the matter. So I'm kind of here to learn more so that I can speak more in the future on it.
If I were to say anything to the policymakers, I would say that we're living in a world or a society where you kind of have to have internet to fully participate. And it's not about just having internet, it's about being connected to the rest of, society and without that, you're creating economic hardships for Canadians and you're excluding them, really. It's not just about slow internet, it's about being excluded from education, healthcare, and economic opportunities, getting a job. You can't work in the federal government because there's a mandatory in-office workplace environment. So I would stress that top down, one size fits all doesn't work. It needs to be customizable. You need to think of community needs and engage with them directly. Otherwise, you're just doing what you want. Furthermore, I think culturally led initiatives, this means providing secure long-term funding, not 4 years, not 5 years. You have these milestones, but you need actual funding, long-term funding that comes from somewhere. Maybe ourselves. Hopefully, if we can get some of those data centers running, we can do that. But I digress.
Thank you so much. So for my follow-up question is, how do you see issues like connectivity, digital equity, and technology access shaping your generation's future?
like I said, everything in today's world is digital. Everything can either be like hacked, essentially. Everything can be really manipulated and exploited. So a lot of digital stuff can really be really, really good. And I'm completely for digital stuff. So I'm trying to think here. So I think more of like, to be honest, I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank.
When we were practicing and prepping for the questions, I had such a good answer for this one, and I have since blanked on it and forgot what I said earlier. But for me, I kind of see issues like this as just the way that the world is advancing into this digital age, and the fact that there are still communities that are still lacking the technology to access the digital world and navigate it. So I see issues like this kind of being an unfortunate kind of outcome of the way that things have been advancing. And I think that with organizations like everyone that's here trying to work towards kind of bridging those gaps, I see issues like this kind of hopefully not being issues in the future, and that we all kind of come together and get rid of them, really.
Thank you.
I'll speak a little bit further on that too. So how do I see issues like connectivity, digital equity, and technology shaping our future? So without equitable access, we are going to be left behind. We're not going to be able to learn. We're not going to have access to education, careers, economic self-sufficiency, cultural preservation, because we have a lot of paper documents that are going to become obsolete. We should be shifting over to a digital first program for most documents that we have for housing, probably, let's say, our status, and things like that. I heard talk about AI being implemented for preserving certain artifacts, which is cool, digital. But yeah, and ultimately, I'd say self-determination. It's huge. We keep talking about it. And what's it mean to own digital infrastructure? And it's an expression of our sovereignty. I think that will empower us into the future as youth, is knowing what we're doing.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm going to move forward to the next question because we only have 5 minutes left. So my next question for the youth is, how can organizations better engage with youth effectively, and what does that look like to you?
Interacting with youth effectively honestly involves like we're gonna round back to like things like this, and really staying on top of new trends and staying updated with current technology, staying updated with what the youth are doing essentially and what they want to do and what they're looking forward to do instead of implementing what they should be doing and should not be doing, because yeah, things will be doing what they want to do anyways. But yeah, so yeah, anyways. I'll skip now.
I would say I would circle back to that youth advisory board again, keep the kind of the youth in the conversations with whatever decisions are being made, and then kind of reach out and pick the youth's brains, see what social media platforms they're using, what kind of lingo and language they're using to kind of connect with them better, which is unfortunate because that kind of means like TikToks and stuff like that. And, get on the TikToks and make those little videos to reach them. So just kind of keeping the youth involved to the point where they feel like their voices matter and what they're saying is going to make a difference in the future.
Yeah, I would just add co-designing, making sure that they're involved in actually saying how they're going to learn or how the program is going to serve them, and maybe making the accessible learning accessible. That means for northern communities, it has to be low bandwidth, because if you have LEOs shining basically a flashlight into an area, you're going to have a lot of people accessing that at a given time. So having a low bandwidth option for learning, a platform you would have to create, would be essential. Thank you.
Thank you. Who's right? Oh,
So what was the question again?
the question was, how can organizations better engage with youth effectively, and what does that look like to you?
Yeah, so a way that organizations can better engage with youth is by, well, one way is, seeking, other Indigenous youth that are kind of already in the field of connectivity, technology, and you know, uh, getting those people to engage within their own communities, because youth, if they were to see uh, people that are similar to them and listen to their stories of how they were able to get involved, they can feel more inspired because they relate to the other youth that are involved within like these organizations. So me, for instance, I felt a lot more comfortable to be here because I'm around people that are similar to me, other Indigenous youth. It would, to be frank, this would be a lot more intimidating if there was, you know, say this wasn't the Indigenous Connectivity Summit, say it was just a general sort of tech connectivity summit. I would feel a lot more intimidated, but I feel very empowered to be here because, I'm with people that are similar to me, other Indigenous people, and being around them, I feel a lot more comfortable and more empowered to help promote connectivity towards people in my own community.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We have like 1 minute left, so I was going to ask the audience if they have any questions. I don't know.
I'll try both. I just wanted to thank you all because I know it's not easy to talk to a room full of people that you may not know yet. So I really applaud your fearlessness. I also wanted to say that CIRA, the Canadian Internet Registration Authority, has funded this year and last year a Canadian Youth Internet Governance Forum. It's going to be taking place here in Ottawa in November, middle of November. I know some of you have been have had an opportunity to participate in that and before are connected in that, but I just wanted to make sure that you know that's an opportunity that's coming up. It's not Indigenous focused, but there's an Indigenous element to it, and it's a great space for youth to get together and start to learn a little bit more about some of the issues that you're talking about that you can bring back to your own community. So it's another event that's coming up fairly soon. So I just wanted to make sure that you could try to take advantage of that.
Does anybody else have any more questions before we wrap it up for lunch?
Thank you for sharing your stories and what you're doing. As we, young generations are expected to be very, maybe more connected than ever to technology in these times. Since you engage, maybe like you do gaming and your phone and like devices and different things. How do you envision as who you are? How do you envision technology to be? How have you dreamed about technology become something that can actually be of better support for yourselves, for your communities, or for Indigenous communities in general? Have you had any dreams that you want to share? I'm sure you have. So maybe somebody can share that, what that dream looks like.
How about every Indigenous youth has access to a laptop when they turn 12? Something like that.
And just basic access to connectivity because there's still communities out there that aren't connected at all. So I feel like even though majority of Canada has connection, we still have the other people that are not connected in remote communities. And I feel like that would be great for all of us to advance, and especially since we're on Indigenous land to begin with, and empowering Indigenous youth voices and giving them platforms in whichever organizations that have a platform to get them involved. And yeah, that's how I see it.
Well, I'll just add real quick. No, just before this is where one of the things in youth, it's brutal. They tell it like it is, and they're very nice about it. But I think one of the things they mentioned is that, yeah, the government says that we are connected, we are fully connected, but we're not. And I think you hear it from the communities, and this is why when we started this, mentioned a few things. We are not connected, and this is the inequity. So
That's actually similar to what we're dealing with in the North End in Winnipeg. Is everyone says that there's connection and like the infrastructure is really old and all that. So the community members, they don't have that connectivity that is being said that they do have. They don't have the desktops. They don't have the technology to access. They don't have the knowledge on how to navigate online safely. So I think to circle back to like what an optimal would look like is everyone would have the devices to go online. They would have the information to know how to utilize it safely. They would have that access, maybe removing financial barriers. But what all of that would do is we're giving not just youth, but we're giving the community the opportunity to connect with jobs, to connect with maybe it's virtual medical appointments, go to school, access resources online that they wouldn't otherwise have access to or know about. So for me, it's just kind of providing all of this to people. That's the optimal for me.
for every one of panel members up here as youth, I am, maybe you don't hear it, but I'll say it from myself. I am proud for every one of you, but you're also the voice of your communities. You may be a little nervous, a little shaken, but you spoke from as far as Haida Gwaii to all north, North Winnipeg, Walpole, everywhere in between. You bring a voice here, and why you feel that nervousness is that you've taken that responsibility. That's what's giving you the shakes. Is how you're going to say that, how you're going to do that, and how you're going to do that diplomatically. But I think the way you handle it, it's very, very good, and I'm very proud of you because you're not going to hear that from even your communities or some of your relatives or etc. You don't hear that very often, but you hear it from me. I'm very proud of you and that you made it up here. And one of the things is going to be a reflection. Mark was mentioning to me, instead of those 3 questions out there that we usually have on the tables, is one of the things you have on there is, as your organizations, what can you do to support Indigenous youth or youth in general for connectivity? That would be one question you see on the table on the tables as we have lunch.